Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sapnewski, and thank you so much for popping by my channel for another LumaFusion tutorial. So in this one, I'm going to teach you guys how to do a very interesting thing that you can use for your thumbnails, or if we're using with pictures posted to your social media pages. This is really cool. I saw this done as a thumbnail in another app, and I thought, I wonder if I could do that in LumaFusion. And I was fooling around with it, and we absolutely can do it in LumaFusion. And that other app is called Infinity Photo. What a great app. I would say it's really good. I'm not saying it's as good as LumaFusion, but it is pretty cool. And there's a lot that we could do in Infinity Photo that converts over into LumaFusion. So if you guys have an interest in learning Infinity Photo, maybe in the comment section below, leave a thumbs up, and I can start teaching you guys a few things about Infinity Photo. We can make our own LUT packages in Infinity Photo and bring them over into LumaFusion. I'll show you how to copy someone else's LUTs and bring those over into LumaFusion. And I'm not saying stealing, like Lizzie Pierce. I purchased her LUT package, but only one of her LUTs happened to be in a dot cube, and that's the format we need to work with in LumaFusion. So I paid for the complete package of 10, and I only got one. So I feel like it's not really stealing. I mean, I already paid for them, so we definitely could copy a LUT package and bring it over into LumaFusion. We can remove things from the background. I mean, there's just so much that can be done in Infinity Photo. So if you guys want to learn that, leave it in the comment section below. Now, by the way, the very first thing that I'm going to do in this project is basically build a screen. And it's going to be not a solid color screen, but a gradiated screen. So if you're using green screen, if you're filming yourself and the screen behind you is green and you're just imposing a background behind you, you can use this method to use as your background. So it's going to be a solid color screen that's gradiated. It's going to be lighter in the middle and get very darker on the ends. I like that look. I think it's very clean and very sharp. So just because we're using this for a picture does not mean it won't work for video as well. So let's jump in and let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the picture that I want to work with. This is a photograph of my son, Tate. And what we want to do is grab one of the plain white titles and just drop it directly on the timeline. We're going to double click on the title. We're going to make sure that we're all the way at the very beginning. So if I just happen to be at the very beginning, but let's say if you're not, you need to hit the very back left arrow to get all the way back to the beginning. And there's a reason why we need to do that. So let's go ahead and hit this title, and guess what, guys? We're gonna throw that title away, kind of like we always do. Let's hit the plus symbol, and we are going to choose shape. So the first thing that we want to do is pick the color of the shape that we want to work with. Now I'm thinking probably something in the very dark gray area. Dark gray, maybe bordering on blue. Now how we would get that is we would just dial down the saturation. And that looks pretty good. Maybe the brightness, I'll make it a little darker. Okay, I think that looks good. So what we want to do now is make this as big as the screen. Now, in order to get that gradiated look, not just a solid color to this particular project, but we want the gradiated look. And how we're going to do that is by going to Color and Effects. Now we want to go to where the vignettes are. And the vignettes can be found on the third icon in from the left. And we are going to choose vignette number 1. Or you could choose any of the vignettes that you want to work with. It's up to you. I just want to work with this vignette number 1. And we can fool around with the intensity. It doesn't have to be so dark in the corners if you don't want it to be. I think that looks good. So now we're going to just back out of that. Do you see what I mean when I say that this would be awesome if you were using chroma key when you're doing your video and you just wanted something that was just very simple and plain behind you? That would work awesome. So now what we want to do is double tap. We want to go back and work with this particular window. What we want to do is begin adding shapes. So let's hit the plus symbol. Let's go to shape. And now the shape that I'm going to work with are triangles. So let's go ahead and pull the triangle up. You can rotate that triangle any way that you want, but I think I'm going to leave it just like this. Maybe make it just a little bigger. And of course, we're just going to make a lot of different triangles and use different patterns. And if you want to turn it absolutely perfectly, you could just use the dial down here and turn it 180 degrees. I think I just want to make this a little smaller. Let's add another triangle. Now when you're doing this, try to get the triangles as straight as possible and make sure that you're getting them the exact same distance apart. So in other words, this triangle has this distance. You don't want the triangle here to be this close to the other triangle. You want to maintain a little bit of consistency throughout this project. Okay, let's add another shape. Triangle again. We're going to flip this one around. Just going to make this a little smaller. Let's add another triangle. Another triangle. We're going to make this one even smaller. Okay, so now what we want to do is make sure that all of these have shadows, because having that shadow on them is really going to make a big difference. What we want to do is just pull down the shadow distance so it's visible and get the angle so that it's showing on two sides. That looks good. Same thing here. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull that angle out a little bit. Now that we want to make all of these chroma key elements, we have to go in and change all of the colors of the shapes to green. Okay, so now what we want to do, go to Color and Effects again, and we're going to hit the key, and we are going to choose Green Screen. And we're just going to have a look to see what this looks like. Okay, so right off the bat, I need to tweak this bottom triangle, move it down a little bit. I could probably even move this down a little bit, maybe even make that one a little bigger. So let's go ahead and just do the amount of fine tweaking that we need to do. Now I just want to make this one a little bigger. I'm going to move this one down, get it a little closer over here. Okay, now let's say you just wanted to add another element here. You just want to write the name of your loved one. Then you would just go ahead and add your title to that. And I like the Gutenblutz font, and that's a title that I imported. It's not something that came with LumaFusion. And I also want to add the shadow. Maybe I'll put that here. Yeah, I think that looks good. Try to keep the shadow consistent with the angle of it with your other words. And there you go. And that's how you can make a specialized little thumbnail or make a specialized little picture if you want to put it up on social media. So just a quick little hack to show you guys something very interesting. And remember, if you need a background for your green screen video, drop a solid color on there, throw a vignette, and you have a beautiful background. Oh, and don't forget, this weekend we're doing the drawing for the 2 giveaways. Sunday we're actually going to do the drawing, and I'm going to post the video on Labor Day showing the 2 winners. So thanks to everyone who's subscribed. I wish everyone the very best of luck. Have a wonderful Labor Day, and I'll see you then. Wear that sunblock on Labor Day. Woo, gonna be hot.